Alright, welcome to the halterbreaking section. Here's our model Mac showing you the halter. There are two different kinds of halters you can get. You can get the rope kind like this that Mac has, or there's nylon ones. I prefer these rope ones just because they fit a little better. So how Mac is holding it is how it'll go on the steer. So underneath her left hand? Yeah, so underneath her left hand there's a slidey piece, and that goes on the left side of the steer's nose. So that is how you control the tightness on the halter. So it slides in and out, and it helps you tighten up the bottom. Over top, that's the nose piece. And so that is obviously on top of their nose. And then around the back goes behind both their ears. So make sure that slidey piece is always on the left-hand side, because that's where you're going to hold on to the halter. So you're going to start by getting them in a small space, because it's going to help for you to be able to catch them to put the halter on. Best way to get the halter on the animal is to open up the bottom piece. So pull out your bottom wide, or big. So it's big, and then you can loop it over the nose of the steer.
Here, why don't you do Beans first since he's closer?
Okay, so Mac is going to open up the bottom of the halter to give her a big loop to catch the nose of the steer. And she's going to loop it over his nose first. So she's going to loop it over his nose and then catch both ears. No, you're right. Loop it over his nose and then catch both ears. And then she's going to pull it tight. There. And that's why I prefer the rope halters to the nylon ones, because you can just pull them tight like that instead of having to change the buckles.
So for Bradley,
in the end, your halter should look like this, with the slidey part on the left side of his nose and the loose rope going underneath the nose. So this is how you properly hold a halter. Your hand like this, your fingers facing out, the soft part of your palm right against his face. Holding the halter tight will give you way more control than if you're holding the end of the halter. Also notice how she doesn't have the shank wrapped around her hand, because if they do decide to run, you can get it tightened and you can lose your hand. So she's just pulling him in tight to the post. So we want them tied good and tight, and we want them tied with their head up. So then we're going to tie them with a quick release knot. Once you have the rope wrapped around the pole, you're going to make a circle. So you go over, under, over. So you have a circle like that. And then you go pull under and make sure this is going under the rope where the steer is. And pull your shank through. And you've got a quick release knot. And then you can pull the loose end without the steer on it through, and it's untied. So that's good. In case something goes wrong, you can untie your steer really quickly. So again, this is the end where the steer, so you've got the end of the halter. We're going to make a circle, go under the other two pieces, and pull through. So he's tied with his head not real low, could be a little higher, but that's as high as we're going to get on that post. So he's tying with their head tight and high so that they can't fight the post and they get used to holding their head up. Because when they're 1,400 pounds, it gets really hard to hold their head up in the show ring if they don't do it themselves. Okay, so now that they're all tied up and standing there nicely, it's really important that you love on them, because this needs to be a good experience for them. So take a brush. You can use a brush like the one Mac has, or you can get a Scotch comb or a curry comb, anything, and you brush them all over. Just brush them up. They do like getting brushed. Rice brushes are really good for getting dirt out if you flick them, like Mac's doing. And you always comb the hair forward for steers. It's just the way you groom them. Helps them look a little longer. Just makes them look better. So you're just going to groom them up, love them up. You're going to do that for a while. I would leave them tied for like half an hour to an hour at least. The longer you leave them tied there, the more they get used to it. Brush them up, love them up, comb both sides. So see how when she's combing the legs, she doesn't kneel down. She just bends down, because if he does kick, you want to get your head out of the way quick. And if you kneel, you can't get up as quickly. She's also standing really close to him, because if he kicks, it's going to hurt less when you're close. She's also got a hand on him, so that she'll feel if he decides to move, and she can get out of the way. So she felt that when he moved. He didn't kick, he just wanted to move. And so he figured out that if he moves closer to the pole, he releases the tension on the rope, so it's more comfortable for him. And he'll stand there and be happy. Sometimes you will have calves like this that just don't want to cooperate. They're going to take a little bit more work. They're going to fight the halter a little bit more. But just keep up with it. Don't let them win, because if they figure out they can win now when they're this small, they're going to learn that they win when they're big. Now we are going to do some leading. So first she unties him, and you always untie from the left side, because with beef you stay on the left side of the steer. So she's going to untie him. She's going to hold the halter close to his face. Good job. So we're going to teach him to lead, and this one hasn't been worked with a lot yet. So just like you would with a horse or any other animal, you're going to put the pressure on when he takes a step. Yep. So put the pressure on, and once he takes a step, you're just going to not let go. You're going to lose some of the pressure and keep walking. So walk, take a step, he's walking, so then you just walk. So she puts pressure on, he's walking, so she's walking with him. Keep walking. Perfect. So you just keep doing that round and round in circles until he's walking perfectly the way you want him to. If he's one that likes to run, you're not going to let him do that. You're going to stand there and anchor and just hold him. Don't ever let go of the rope if you can. So he's pretty little, so his head is low, but if he was bigger, I would want her to be holding his head up more. But he's pretty little still. So you see how she doesn't have her rope wrapped around her. So when he does that just like big shake and step, just keep walking, keep him moving forward. He's got it already. There you go. So now he's walking, so she's going to stop him on her terms. He had a little freak out there. She didn't let go. She pulled him around. So now she's going to pull him straight and go back to what they were doing. So it's going to take a while. This isn't like a dog that comes happy on a leash. This is weird for them. So it's going to take a lot of work. Okay, so when you're done for the day, untie him, get him leading for a couple steps if that's all it takes. And then you're going to stop him when you feel like it, not when he feels like it. Give him some scratchies. So see, he had a little fit there, so he doesn't get to get let go right now. So he has to stand nice and be nice before he can get let go, because we end the halter breaking day on our own terms, not on his terms. So he's getting tired, which is fair, but we ended on our terms, not on his. So before we let him go, and we're going to let him go with the halter still on, because it helps them get used to it, and it helps them figure out that when the halter is tight, they can't do anything. So we're going to stand there. He's standing nicely. Give him a couple scratchies. And since we're leaving the halter on, she can just let go of the halter. If you were to take the halter off, that's when you would take the halter off. But since we're just leaving it on so they can learn it more, that's good.